He thought she was cheating. But when he secretly followed her that night, what he found didn't just break his heart. It shattered everything he believed about love, loyalty, and truth. In the rain, under the dim glow of a streetlight, he watched the woman he built his world around walk into a crumbling apartment, to meet a man half his age. He thought it was betrayal. But what he discovered inside that room would change his life forever. The camera sweeps across Lagos at dawn, glass towers catching the first light, luxury cars gliding through gated estates. The city of dreams. The city of secrets. A magnificent colonial-style mansion sits on 3 acres of manicured gardens. Inside, marble floors gleam under crystal chandeliers. This is the home of a king among men, a 58-year-old industrial titan whose name opens doors across West Africa. The master bedroom is quiet. Too quiet. He wakes alone, reaching across cold silk sheets. The space beside him hasn't been warm in months. Downstairs, the sounds of breakfast being prepared. The clink of fine china. The whisper of staff moving like ghosts through rooms too large for the silence that fills them. She sits at the breakfast table, 26 years old, beautiful as morning itself. Her wrapper is elegantly tied, gold earrings catching the light through tall windows. But her eyes are somewhere else. Always somewhere else now. Good morning. His voice carries the weight of wealth and power, but in this room, it sounds small. She looks up, offers a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Morning. Your tea is ready. They eat in silence. Once, they used to talk about everything. His business empire, her charity work, their plans. Now, conversation has become a ghost that haunts empty spaces between them. He watches her from behind his newspaper. The way she checks her phone. The way she excuses herself early, claiming a headache. The way she's been disappearing lately, piece by piece, until he's not sure he knows her at all anymore. His closest friend and business partner arrives after breakfast, a man in his 60s with silver hair and expensive suits, carrying 3 decades of shared history in his confident stride. They sit in the study, whiskey glasses between them despite the early hour. You look troubled, my friend. Business problems. The billionaire shakes his head slowly. It's her. She's different, distant. She leaves the house at strange hours. Won't tell me where she's going. His friend laughs, the sound rich and dismissive. Women need attention, not interrogation. You work too much. When did you last take her on holiday? Buy her something extravagant. I give her everything. Everything except your time, perhaps. The friend leans back, swirling his drink. These young wives, they need constant reassurance. It's the price we pay for beauty, eh? Don't become one of those suspicious old men. It's beneath you. But the words don't comfort him. They stick like thorns. 3 nights later, he wakes to the sound of a door closing. His hand reaches out. The bed is empty again. He rises, moves to the window. Below, in the courtyard, she's climbing into a taxi. Not their driver. Not their cars. A common taxi, yellow and battered. She's wearing simple clothes. No jewelry, no elegance. She looks over her shoulder once, then disappears into the night. His heart pounds against his ribs. Every terrible possibility floods his mind. He makes a decision that will change everything. He grabs his car keys, not the Mercedes with the company plates, but the old Honda he keeps for discretion. He hasn't driven himself in years, but tonight, he must know the truth. The rain starts to fall as he follows the red taillights through Lagos streets that grow darker with every turn. The taxi winds through the city, away from the gleaming towers and gated communities. Each neighborhood grows rougher than the last. Potholes. Flickering streetlights. Corrugated iron roofs instead of tiles. Rain drums against his windshield. He keeps his distance, headlights dimmed, heart hammering. Part of him wants to turn back. Part of him needs to see. The taxi stops in a neighborhood he doesn't recognize. Narrow streets, buildings leaning against each other like tired old men. Music plays from somewhere. A dog barks. This is a world away from their mansion. She pays the driver, clutches a bag to her chest, and hurries toward a 3-story building with peeling paint and rusted balconies. He parks in the shadows, watches her climb the stairs. 2nd floor. 3rd door on the left. She knocks. A pattern, deliberate. Someone knows she's coming. The door opens. She disappears inside. He sits in the car for 10 minutes. 20. The rain doesn't stop. Neither does the burning in his chest. Finally, he emerges. Locks the car. Moves through the rain like a man walking toward his own execution. The building smells of cooking oil and damp concrete. He climbs the stairs quietly, each step heavier than the last. Outside the door, he hears voices. Hers, soft and gentle. Another voice, weak, masculine, young. His blood turns cold. He moves to the side, where a window faces the narrow alley. The curtain is thin, torn at the edge. Through it, he sees everything. A small room. A single bed. Medical equipment, oxygen tank, 4-stand, bottles of pills. And there on the bed, a young man. 20, perhaps 22. Thin as a skeleton, skin stretched over bones, breathing through a mask. She kneels beside him, wiping his forehead with a damp cloth. She's unpacking the bag. Medicine, food, juice. Her movements are tender, practiced. She's done this before. Many times. The young man's hand reaches for hers. She takes it, brings it to her cheek. Her lips move. Please don't leave me again. You have to fight. You have to stay. The billionaire's world tilts. His hands shake as he pulls out his phone, takes photos through the window. Each click feels like a nail in the coffin of his marriage. He's seen enough. More than enough. The rain pours harder as he drives back through streets that blur into watercolor nightmares. His hands grip the steering wheel until his knuckles turn white. 26 years old. He gave her everything. He made her a queen. And this is how she repays him, sneaking around in the night, holding another man's hand, whispering words of love in rundown rooms that smell of sickness and lies. The photos burn on his phone screen. Evidence. Proof. Betrayal captured in pixels. He arrives home as dawn breaks. The mansion looks different now. No longer a palace, but a monument to his own foolishness. An old man who thought youth could love him for more than his money. The bedroom is still empty when he climbs the stairs. She hasn't returned yet. Still there. With him. He sits on the edge of their bed, head in his hands, and for the first time in decades, he allows himself to feel the full weight of his breaking heart. When she finally slips through the door at sunrise, he pretends to be asleep. She showers quietly, climbs into bed, keeps to her side. The silence between them has never been louder. 5 days pass like winter. He speaks to her only when necessary. She tries to bridge the gap, asks him questions, suggests dinner together, reaches for his hand across the table. He pulls away every time. The photos on his phone feel like fire in his pocket. His friend notices. You look worse, not better. Have you confronted her? Not yet. Why wait? If she's doing something wrong, you have every right to know. But the truth is, he's afraid. Afraid of hearing her say it. Afraid of the words that will make it real and final. Afraid of becoming the old fool everyone will pity. On the 6th day, he tells her he's traveling to Abuja for business meetings. 3 days. Maybe 4. She nods, something flickering in her eyes. Relief? Guilt. Be safe, she says. I will. That night, after making a show of packing and leaving in his company car, he returns in the Honda. Parks 2 streets away. Waits. At midnight, like clockwork, the taxi arrives. She emerges in her simple clothes, carrying her bag of secrets. This time, he doesn't follow far behind. This time, he's ready for confrontation. She climbs the stairs to that same door. knocks the pattern, enters. He counts to 60. Then he moves. His heart pounds as he climbs the stairs. Each step brings him closer to the end of everything. The door is unlocked. He pushes it open. The scene freezes like a photograph. She's sitting on the edge of the bed, spooning soup carefully into the young man's mouth. The boy looks weaker than before, his breathing labored even with the oxygen mask. Medicine bottles crowd the small table. She gasps. The spoon clatters to the floor. No, David, you can't be here. Can't be here. His voice shakes with rage he can barely contain. In the room where my wife spends her nights. With him. The young man tries to sit up, confusion and fear in his eyes. Please let me explain. Explain what? He pulls out his phone, throws the photos at her. How long? How long have you been betraying me with him? She's crying now, hands trembling. Betraying you? David, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're 26. You married an old man for his money and now you have your young lover hidden away like. This is your son. The words detonate in the small room. Silence. The rain against the window. The hiss of the oxygen tank. The sound of his own blood rushing in his ears. What? What did you say? She's sobbing now, mascara running down her face. This is your son, David. Your son. He looks at the young man. Really looks at him. The shape of his eyes. The curve of his jaw. Features he remembers from another face. Another lifetime. The boy's voice is barely a whisper through the mask. Dad. The billionaire's legs give out. He drops to his knees on the concrete floor, hand pressed to his chest, unable to breathe. No. No, that's impossible. My son died. 20 years ago. The accident. They told me he was gone. Both of them. My son and his mother. I buried them. I mourned them. You buried lies. She kneels in front of him, taking his face in her hands. David, listen to me. Listen. He didn't die. He's been alive all this time. Abandoned in an orphanage. Sick. Alone. And I found him. The world spins. How? How is that possible? 3 months ago, I was going through old files in your study, looking for our wedding photos. I found adoption papers, hospital reports, accident photos that didn't match the story. So I started digging. David, the death certificates were forged. The accident report was falsified. Someone paid to make your son disappear. He looks at the boy, his son, his child, his blood, and 20 years of grief comes crashing down. Who? His voice is a broken whisper. Who would do such a thing? She takes a shaky breath. Your business partner. Your best friend. He needed you broken and distracted after the accident. While you were grieving, he restructured the company. Took controlling shares. By the time you recovered, he owned more than half of everything you'd built together. He needed your wife and child gone, but killing them would have been too risky. So he paid people to make them disappear. Your son ended up in an orphanage with no name, no past. When he got sick, they abandoned him to a charity hospital. That's where I found him. The betrayal cuts deeper than any knife. His best friend. The man who comforted him. Who told him not to be suspicious. Who had stood beside him for 30 years. The man who destroyed his life for money. Trembling, he crawls to the bedside. The young man's eyes are full of tears. I'm sorry. The boy's voice cracks. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. She wanted to tell you, but she was afraid. Your heart condition. The doctors said a shock could. It's okay. He reaches out with a shaking hand, touches his son's face. The skin is warm. Real. Alive. It's okay, my son. It's okay. They hold each other while the oxygen tank hisses and the rain pours down and 20 years of stolen time sits heavy between them. She watches from the corner, tears streaming, having carried this impossible secret alone for months, protecting them both, saving them both, at the cost of her own heart. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I was trying to get him stable first. I was trying to protect you. I didn't know how to." He looks at her through his tears. "You saved him. You saved my son. While I suspected you of betrayal, you were saving my child. I love you," she says simply. "Both of you. That's all I've ever wanted, for this family to be whole again." They spend the next hours in that small room, a broken family piecing itself back together. She shows him everything. The files she'd found. The private investigators' reports. The trail of money that led from his business partner to corrupt officials, falsified documents, paid-off witnesses. When I discovered the truth, I wanted to scream it from the rooftops. But then I realized, he's been watching you for 20 years. If he knew his secret was exposed, if he knew your son was alive, David, he's a dangerous man. He destroyed your family once. He would do it again. The billionaire stares at the documents, each page another nail in the coffin of a friendship he thought was real. "I trusted him with everything. My business. My grief. My life. When I was drowning in sorrow, he was the one who pulled me back. Or so I thought. He was the one who pushed you in," she says quietly. "And then he handed you a rope so you'd be grateful." The young man sleeps fitfully, exhausted by emotion. While he rests, she tells the father everything. He doesn't remember much from before. He was only 4 during the accident. But the orphanage records showed he was brought in by a woman claiming to be a distant relative who couldn't care for him. No name. No background. Just a sick little boy who cried for his father every night. He grew up thinking you abandoned him. That you didn't want him. When he turned 18, he left the orphanage and tried to find you. But every door closed in his face. Every lead went nowhere. The false documents made sure of that. 2 years ago he got sick. Respiratory problems. No money for treatment. He ended up in a charity hospital where they barely kept him alive. That's where I found him, through a charity program I fund. When I saw his face, David, I saw you. I saw your eyes looking back at me. She wipes her tears. I paid for his treatment. Moved him here where I could visit without raising suspicion. I've been using my personal allowance to keep him alive, to keep him hidden, until I could figure out how to bring him back to you safely. You did all this alone. I couldn't risk losing you. Either of you. A bitter irony surfaces. During these months, while she was secretly caring for the lost son, the business partner had visited their mansion regularly. Sitting in the study. Drinking their whiskey. Offering advice about marriage. He asked about you, the billionaire recalls, his voice hollow. Asked if you were happy. If you were behaving strangely. I thought he was being a concerned friend. He was checking, she says. Making sure his secret was still safe. When he told you that women need attention, not suspicion, he was protecting himself, not your marriage. The manipulation is staggering. For 2 decades, the serpent had been sitting at his right hand, smiling, advising, while feeding on the corpse of everything he'd destroyed. As dawn approaches, they formulate a strategy. The billionaire's initial rage has crystallized into something colder, sharper. We need proof that will stand in court. We need him to confess. She nods. I have most of the documents. But documents can be dismissed as forgeries. We need his words. His admission. Then I'll get them. How? The billionaire looks at his sleeping son, then at his wife, this woman who loved him enough to carry an impossible burden alone. By making him think he's won. 2 days later, the billionaire returns to his mansion. Acts as if nothing has changed. Buries his rage beneath the mask he's worn in boardrooms for decades. He calls his business partner. We need to talk. About the expansion deal. Come to my study tonight. Just us. Like old times. The friend arrives with expensive wine and that familiar confident smile. They sit in the leather chairs where they've made 1,000 deals. The billionaire has hidden cameras and recording devices in places no one would think to look. His phone is streaming everything to a secure server. They talk business for an hour. Laugh about old times. Then, carefully, the billionaire steers the conversation. You remember when my first wife died? When I lost my son? The friend's expression shifts, just slightly. Of course. Darkest time of your life. You were there for me. Helped me rebuild. That's what brothers do. Tell me something. The billionaire leans forward. Tell me again how the accident happened. I've been having dreams. Memories that don't quite fit. The friend waves dismissively. Dreams are just dreams. You were in shock. It was a terrible time. But the details. Something has been bothering me. The police report said one thing. The hospital said another. The death certificates. Why are you digging up the past? Because my wife has been acting strangely. And I found some old files. Medical records. Adoption papers. He watches the friend's face carefully. Strange papers. Papers that don't match the story we were told. The air in the room changes. The friend's smile tightens. What are you suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything. I'm asking you, my oldest friend, the man I trust more than anyone, tell me the truth about what happened 20 years ago. The truth is they died. Tragic accident. You know this. Do I? The billionaire stands, pours more wine with steady hands. Because lately, I've been wondering. You were so helpful afterward. Took over so many responsibilities while I grieved. Restructured the company. Made deals. Acquired my shares at friendship prices because I needed liquidity for the funeral expenses. I was helping you. Were you? He turns, and his voice drops to ice. Or were you taking advantage of my grief? Tell me, old friend, did my wife and son really die in that accident? The friend stands, anger replacing caution. You're talking nonsense. Grief is making you paranoid, just like it's making you paranoid about your current wife. My son is alive. Silence crashes down. The friend's face drains of color. That's impossible. Is it? Or is it just impossible that I found him? The billionaire steps closer. 20 years you've been lying to me. 20 years you've been sitting in my house, drinking my wine, pretending to be my brother. While my child was abandoned in an orphanage. While you stole everything I built. You don't understand. Then make me understand. Tell me why. Tell me how a man I called brother could do this. The friend's composure cracks. Because you would have destroyed me. The company was failing. We were drowning in debt. I found investors, but they wanted control. They wanted you out. And you were too stubborn, too proud to see that your vision was killing us. So you killed my family instead? I didn't kill them. I made them disappear. A few paid officials. Some forged documents. The boy was safely placed in an orphanage. The mother was paid to leave the country and never come back. It was better for everyone. Better for everyone? My son grew up thinking I abandoned him. He's dying because he had no one to care for him. Better for everyone. Better for the company. Better for the thousands who depend on us for jobs. Better for the empire we built. Your personal tragedy saved everything. The words hang in the air, recorded, damning, complete. Thank you, the billionaire says quietly. That's all I needed to hear. The friend realizes too late. His eyes dart around the study, seeing the cameras, understanding the trap. You recorded this? Every word. Every confession. The police will be here in 10 minutes. I suggest you spend that time remembering what it felt like to have a conscience. The cameras cut to outside, Blue lights flashing. Officers emerging from vehicles. The friend being led away in handcuffs, screaming about betrayal, about friendship, about ingratitude. The billionaire watches from his window, feeling nothing but emptiness where his rage used to be. His wife appears beside him, takes his hand. "It's over," she whispers. "No," he says. "Now it begins." 3 weeks later. A private hospital room. The best doctors money can buy. His son lies in a proper bed, color slowly returning to his cheeks, breathing easier now with proper treatment. The billionaire sits beside him, reading aloud from a book, something he would have done 20 years ago if the world had been kinder. "I failed you," he says when the reading is done. "I failed to protect you. I trusted the wrong person. I let you grow up alone." The young man's hand reaches for his father's. "You didn't fail me. You didn't know. And when you found out..." His eyes find his stepmother standing in the doorway. "She didn't give up on us. Either of us. She was our bridge back to each other." She enters, sits on the other side of the bed. The three of them, a family stitched together by love strong enough to survive 2 decades of lies. "What happens now?" the son asks. "Now," the billionaire says, "we make up for lost time." 6 months later. A small coastal town, far from Lagos and its towers and its memories. A modest house on the beach. Not a mansion. Just a home. The sun sets in brilliant orange and gold. 3 figures walk along the water's edge. A man no longer weighed down by empire, a woman who chose love over ease, and a young man learning to be strong again. They walk slowly, shoes in hand, letting waves wash over their feet. No words needed. The silence between them is no longer heavy with secrets. It's full of peace. The billionaire looks at his wife, this woman he almost lost because he trusted the wrong person and suspected the right one. She smiles at him, and it reaches her eyes now. His son bends to pick up a shell, examines it in the fading light, and laughs at something simple and pure. In the city, his former business partner sits in a cell, counting the cost of greed. But here on this beach, the only thing being counted is blessings. The camera pulls back, up, away from the 3 figures on the beach. The sun dips below the horizon. The day ends, but their story continues. Sometimes the people we suspect of betraying us are the ones quietly carrying our pain. And sometimes, the ones we trust the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. But love, real love, isn't about control or perfection. It's about faith. Faith in the dark, faith when words fail, faith when everything around you says it's over. Because in the end, love that survives betrayal is the kind of love that heals. It rebuilds what was broken. It chooses forgiveness, not because it's easy, but because peace is priceless. The mansion now stands empty. The empire has new owners. But on that quiet beach, 3 souls walk side by side, not rich, not powerful, but free. And that, maybe, is the only kind of wealth that truly lasts. Now I want to hear from you. If you were in his place, what would you have done? Would you forgive, or would you walk away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I actually read every single one, and I'd love to know what you think. Before you go, can I ask one small favor? This story took days to write, record, and edit, every scene, every emotion. If it touched you, please subscribe, hit like, and leave your comment below. And hey, I love giving shoutouts to my amazing viewers. Today's shoutouts go to Joy Ferdinand from Dubai, Miriam from South Africa, and Lenny's from Germany. Thank you all for being part of this journey. Your support means more than you know.